Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your September 2020 mid-month general readings. Welcome everyone. This reading is for the last 2 weeks of September, and this is for the water sign of Cancer, our lovely Cancerians. I hope everyone's doing well, safe, healthy, as mentally balanced as we can be in the year 2020. Thanks for joining us here today. So this reading is for the water sign of Cancer for the last 2 weeks of September. That's Cancer Sun, Moon, Rising, if your Venus is in Cancer, or if you're cross-watching for another Cancerian as well. It's all relevant, but of course, being a general reading, it's going to resonate a little differently with everyone in intensity and details and specifics. Everybody has their own story of what's going on in your life right now. But if you find that this video resonates with you, or if any of the other ones do, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading, just click on the description link below, that little arrow that pulls down information. You'll see my email address there, Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. Please feel free to email me. I can usually respond within the same day or the first 24 hours with more information. And scheduling is done in a pretty timely fashion. I do readings full-time. It's all that I do, so I'm pretty diligent at working with everyone's schedules and my own to get those readings set up as quickly as possible. So if you're interested, send me an email, and I'd be delighted to work with you. I do offer a wide variety of readings. Okay, Cancer, let's see what the second half of September has in store for you. Watch all of your signs, if you know them, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, because they can all provide a different perspective to what's going on in your life. All right, Cancer. We begin with the Eight of Cups. Followed by the Knight of Swords. The Eight of Swords, followed by the Magician, and from the bottom of the deck, overall energy for the last half of September is the Three of Swords. Five cards, 3 of them are swords, which is governed by the elements of air, which references mental, psychological energy, our head, belief systems, ideologies. So a lot of thought processing going on, a lot of thinking, feeling. It looks like somebody is leaving, or there's news or information that somebody's leaving, and it's causing you, in varying degrees, because this is a general reading, but it's causing you heartache. It might even be a breakup for some of you, in a relationship, could be romantic or otherwise. I mean, the overall energy is the Three of Swords, which often can represent breakups, emotional pain, disappointment. Sometimes in relationships it can reference third-party situations. We have the Eight of Cups and the Knight of Swords. I can really feel this reading, Cancer. There's just a kind of a sense of sadness here. So someone's turning their back on something, leaving, walking away. It's clarified by the Knight of Swords, who I heard a reference once by a reader about the Knight of Swords being kind of the postman of the tarot, and I quite agree with him, because knights are the deliverers of the tarot. They charge off to achieve their mission and quest and bring back the results. So they usually represent fast-moving situations, offers and opportunities, and the Knight of Swords is the Knight of Air, so he's bringing information, he's delivering information and news, bringing that, and that's what clarifies the Eight of Cups. So someone, Cancer, whether it's you or someone else, is making the decision to leave a situation, turn their back on a situation. This is the information about that. it might actually represent the actual travel itself, because I do feel a sense of physical movement with this. Um, I'm getting a very distinct message for some of you that for some of you this is a love romance relationship, and it feels like both of you are leaving, but one of you is leaving more for a lot longer time. It's like perhaps you have a partner who's making the decision to leave or to travel, and it's causing you emotional pain and heartache, and you're also taking a trip, but a short trip, as part of how you need to deal with the grieving process, which I can understand. It does help, when you're going through a difficult time or grieving or sadness or loss, to be in motion, simply, if nothing else, for the distracting benefits of it. So there's this news or information coming in, or you're delivering it as well. It can, for some of you, it might be, and it doesn't need to necessarily be a love and romance relationship. It could be a relationship of a different sort. It could be a work or job situation. It could be somebody that you care about that's just leaving or moving, and because of the emotional connection, there's a sense of loss and sadness about it. We have the the 8 of Swords, clarified by the Magician. So the 8 of Swords is a card that represents feeling helpless, feeling trapped or bound or held hostage. But it's also swords, remember, which governs the mind. So this is it can be a card of, your fears or whatever excuses you have for not being able to remove yourself from a situation are more in your head. This can sometimes be a card of your fears and your obligations kind of holding you hostage, because that's what the swords represent. It can represent one particular idea or belief system, or a whole variety of them, which is what's keeping this person trapped. But in fact, they're not really. The gaps between the swords are wide enough to walk through. The chains which are wrapped around her wrists aren't connected to anything. She could free herself, stand up, take the blindfold off, and see that she can remove herself from this situation. And not to say that it wouldn't come at a cost, everything does, but it's a card about being able to be free, but what's keeping her in there is, fill in the blank. I mean, I can't leave, or I can't change the situation because I have this obligation or responsibility, or, whatever it is that's keeping you there, this thought process that's kind of hijacking your rational mind and saying you can't free yourself from this. Perhaps for some of you, if this is a relationship, it could be, that you're constantly going through this cycle of leaving, going in and out, but you feel like you can't break free of the situation because you're emotionally connected, so you stay. But the sense is not being able to manifest what you want, because what clarifies that feeling trapped is the Magician. It's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. The Magician is someone who is a manifester. He is kind of the entrepreneur manifester of the tarot, and he's worked hard to get to this place where he now has mastery over the basic elements, creative energy, mental energy, physical energy, and the emotions as well. The Magician is a card that represents success, which comes from combining your God-given talents with your strength, determination, perseverance, and hard work to make what you want physically manifest into reality by working at it and knowing how to do that. But there's something here that's keeping you trapped and unable to manifest what you want. In a relationship, this would be two people. I mean, even in a work situation, this is where you're wanting to manifest something, Cancer, and the other person or situation is not on board. And so therefore you can't manifest what you want, because what you want is with this other person or situation. But they're leaving, or you're making the decision to leave. Some of you, it might be a relationship in which you're making the decision to leave because perhaps you realize that it's never going to be what you want it to be, and that's causing a great deal of pain. Let's clarify here. Tell me more about the Three of Swords. Tell me more about this emotional heartache and pain. I'm using the Gilded Tarot Royale, by the way. The Hermit. Yeah, so the Three of Swords clarified by the Hermit. Yeah. So the Hermit is a card that represents walking a solitary path and being alone, and that can be part of the pain too. But the Hermit is also intentional energy. The Hermit has chosen, as monks and monastics and other ascetics do, he has made a decision to walk what can seem like a very solitary and lonely path for a time in order to gain wisdom, contemplation, reflection, trying to take a look at the experience and wisdom that they've gained from the path that they've walked and using that to guide their way forward. So whether or not a person or a situation is leaving you, something you have no control over, or whether you're choosing to turn your back and leave because you need to be alone for a while, you need to have, this reflection, contemplation time. But, there again, I feel a sense of kind of sadness, but it doesn't feel new. I feel like this may be a situation, Cancer, that you've been through, or there's some kind of cycle, and you find yourself alone yet again, is what I'm hearing. Tell me about the Magician. What is it that you want to manifest? What does Cancer want to manifest? The Four of Wands, one of the happy homes, marriage, weddings. The Ace of Cups, new love, emotional renewal in an already existing situation. The Hierophant, convention, tradition. Some of you, this might be in a romantic relationship. It might be that you want to take the relationship to the next level or get married or have something more conventional, and have, move to that next level. And when we move to next levels, we often experience kind of a renewal, kind of a surge, a new renewal. Stability around the home, again, taking something to the next level and experiencing a renewal and increased stability in your home and family or relationship because of that. That's what you want to manifest here. That's what you want to have in this relationship or situation, but you feel trapped because of that Eight of Swords. So tell me about this Eight of Swords. Two of Swords, followed by the Devil. Someone, Cancer, whatever this relationship or situation is, there's a great deal of instability in it. And someone unwilling to look at that and make a decision because of that. This is also somebody who's denying their intuition. And you can kind of flip this as well, someone whose refusal to follow what their instincts or higher self is telling them is causing a great deal of instability. There's a sense of blindness about this. I mean, both of these cards, we're clarifying the Eight of Swords. Why does this person feel bound, helpless? They're not able to manifest what they want because the other person, the other situation, the other side is not on board and ignoring their intuition. The other thing too, Cancer, is that what's also keeping you trapped is the unwillingness to look at what the truth is, what your intuition, which the moon can represent, is telling you, but not wanting to look at it directly, not wanting to acknowledge the truth of that, because it would require making a decision, taking action, and taking responsibility for your path moving forward. And you don't want to do that. And often, almost always, the reason that we don't want to, we tell ourselves, oh, I can't because of this or that. It's because we're afraid that we'll have to look at it and make a decision and take a course of action that will bring about an ending. And so because of this, there's a lot of instability here, and you're not able to manifest what you want. In a romantic relationship, this would be being in a relationship where perhaps both of you love and care for each other, but your relationship ideologies are fundamentally different. You want to move forward and get married and have that kind of conventional, structure, and the other person is not on board. And you're unhappy in this, but you don't want to really take a look at the reality of what that means moving forward, that you're always going to be in this energy, in this constant cycle. But because you feel emotionally connected, you don't want to actually take a look at that, because it would represent your needing to leave, because the other person just isn't willing to see here. And so there's a sense of feeling trapped. And I'm getting for some of you in a relationship cycle, this is part of a cycle. Like they keep coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. And here they are telling you that once again, it's time for them to go do XYZ. I mean, it could be, leaving for a third party, but I'm not getting that very distinctly. It's more like they're leaving because that's just their way of life. They're kind of in and out, or that's how they do relationships. I mean, it could be you as well for some of you. And so, once again, in that cycle, there's this sensation of, okay, here I am again. I'm going to be alone again, and I have to deal with this again until we come back together again, and on and on and on it goes. I get this sense of kind of like a dog chasing its own tail here, Cancer, and this blindness, I think, on both parts, both sides of the situation, to actually take a look at what this really means and make a decision that's good, even if that decision, is about an ending. Because even though what's keeping you trapped may be, I can't leave, I love this person, how long are you going to wait for this situation to be transformed? You're waiting for it to happen independent here, and it feels like it's probably time for you to make a choice. Free will, of course, but if you don't, it keeps you stuck in this, really unhappy cycle of up and down energy. So let's ask for some advice from Spirit on what the best way to navigate through this is, at least this time period. We're looking at a relatively short period of time, the last 2 weeks of September. So let's see what Spirit's advice is for you, how to navigate through this, or what to focus on during this time. The energy of this Cancer feels very similar to, and we've all been through this, that unhappy time period leading up to something happening, and then decisions are made and a change is made, and it might be difficult, but it's always put you on a better path. It's that uncomfortable or painful period before the actual change occurs. Because some of us, we have to wait until we're in a lot of pain and unhappiness in order to make a change. Because we're afraid of letting go of that which is actually causing us the pain. We keep ourselves attached to it by telling ourselves all kinds of different things, and all of those different ideas and excuses that we give ourselves are part of what keeps us trapped in this cycle, which is unhealthy. It's an unhealthy cycle here with the devil, which represents addictions, obsession. It's imbalance. It's too much energy in one area to the detriment of others. Okay. Guidance for Cancer, what to focus on during this time period. Death. The Ace of Pentacles. Let's pull one more. The Eight of Pentacles. Okay. So death represents an ending, a complete transformation, something dying, moving on to something new, something dying and becoming transformed. Death is a major arcana card, and it's an inevitability. This situation is coming to an end one way or the other. Sometimes it's an ending like walking away, that actually can transform the situation so that it can begin anew in a better and healthier way. And sometimes, death represents an ending, a complete ending, where you actually leave something and completely leave it. There's no transformation in that, but it needs to end so that you can go off and be on a path of joy and fulfillment that's better for you. But it's inevitable. I mean, when you look at physical death, we all have to go through that. We all have to go through that transition. So I think here, Cancer, it's about allowing that to happen and not taking steps to prevent it or resist it, which you can't anyway. And during this time period, finding something else to focus on, a new project, a new passion project, or focusing on your work, focusing on a project, focusing on, and again, there's something to be said about, having things to do and to focus on and distract yourself with during a period of emotional pain or challenge or heartache. It really helps to be in motion, and it really helps to have things to focus on. And here, this would be finding something new to focus on, something that really grabs your attention, whether it's a new hobby, a new interest, a new job, something that you can devote a lot of time and attention to, that kind of inspires you, like a passion project or something that you feel really good about, beginning something new again. I mean, it can be anything from a hobby to a new exercise routine, but something that keeps you busy and focused, and captures your interest and perhaps even your creativity as well. And just kind of allowing this to play out. Death is not resistible, right? We can't fight it. So it's about allowing this ending or transformation, because I think this is still playing out, to happen, and accepting that and not resisting that. These two cards, this Eight of Swords and Two of Swords, this is about holding on to something, telling yourself that you can't let go because of, whatever, fill in the blank, right? But this ending or transformation is inevitable. Whether, and of course it's not going to play out the same for everyone. This is a general reading. Some of you, it might be a complete ending, a complete separation from a person or a situation. And it might be the transformation of it as well. But what you're being asked to do primarily is to allow it to happen, which means taking off this blindfold and just letting the swords fall. So, not one of those rainbow readings, Cancer, but we all go through this with different situations and relationships in our lives. It's about progressing and evolving and learning. So that is your reading for the last half of September, Cancer. I hope that while it may not have been the most enjoyable, that it gave you some feedback and insight, some food for thought. Try not to just sit and stew in this in an immobile way. Find things to keep yourself busy at during this time. Focus on any new projects or new creative things. Focus on your work. Focus on your own physical stability, which is what the Suit of Pentacles is about. It's about our physical stability. Work, the things we actually do every day in our physical life. Focus on that. It's going to help kind of pull you through this time. So Cancer, that's your reading for the last half of September. I hope you found it useful. Again, if any of these readings resonate with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading, just click on the description link below. Feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I'll see you all in a couple of weeks for the October general readings. Until then, stay safe and well, and many blessings to you. Bye-bye.